So I'm speaking with Scott Evans, and you're listening to the Loan Originators Edge, sponsored by the Scotsman Guide. And so, where are you located at, man?
I live in San Diego in
What a
La
great
Jolla,
place to
California.
live.
I know.
Good for you, man. So you're in the La Jolla area.
Correct.
A lot of great talent there in that area, and you're proof of that.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
so let's talk some numbers first. So, how's things going this year so far?
Um, I'm gonna hit my number, like do more than I did last year.
Mm,
I'm pretty
okay.
consistent. I can't really remember what I did last year, but um,
But this year's better.
this year's better. Yeah,
Even
yeah.
better, even better.
Even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's I've had some, great numbers with with when the refi business hit, where I was fortunate to be, number one on Scotsman's Guide for like VA business, and I was never in the military. So I
Oh
had a lot
man.
of the layups that happened in 2020 and 2021 with the VA Earls. Um, but I've redone my business a year and a half ago, and I love coaching. I've always been a big believer in coaching, and actually, a buddy of mine, Matt Weaver, who's number one at our company at CrossCountry, is coaching me. And I used to be number one at CrossCountry since 2016, and he knocked me off my horse. And the cool thing is he's coaching me, and we always have to have enemies, and he's my mortal enemy, and my goal is just to beat him. So I have every single employee has a coffee mug that says "Beat Matt Weaver," and so that's all I'm just chasing him to win, and he's coaching me along the way, which is pretty cool.
Well, I think we ought to just go out and take out his kneecaps, man. I think so cool. So, hey, you said something kind of as oh by the way, but I want to dive into this a little bit. Oh, first, so like what? So when you say you're doing even better this year, like what kind of numbers are we looking at so far this year?
I think that's what I'm going to look up. I'll pull that open. I'm not even really paying attention of where so much of what where I'm closing about, maybe I think it was about 50 to 60 purchase deals a month.
Oh man,
So because my volume is more in California, I'm really looking at units per,
yeah.
and I'm looking at units, and I want my goal, and I believe this completely, is to be the number one guy on Scotsman and beat Shant. That's my goal. I believe I will eventually will take him down. So it's, when you have someone that you're chasing, it's fun. So, and my business is completely off of going after real realtors.
My man.
So that's all I do is just going after realtors. I do presentations. That's what I've changed my business a year and a half ago, where I'm doing presentations in front of agents constantly. So the activities that I'm doing in comparison to other people are, I have a presentation later on tonight. I have another one in front of 80 people on Tuesday. Another one I've actually expanded in LA. I've expanded in different markets using presentations. So using email marketing to fill the room up with real estate agents. So I'm actually be in LA on Tuesday, San Diego on Wednesday, then taking this, the uh, Labor Day, because the vacation and stuff out, and then I'm
Yeah,
right back
yeah,
to it. So twice a week, I'm in front of 150 real estate agents.
dude. So,
And I looked
God,
at my numbers. I'm at 200 units as of August 22nd. I'm sorry, 200 million, 204 million as of August 2nd. And unit wise, I'm at 355 units.
brother, that's impressive. So I talked to thousands and thousands and thousands, literally, of loan officers all across the nation. And I'm going to tell you, buddy, that's impressive. So good for you, my man. Good for you,
Thank you.
buddy. Good for you. And I can tell already it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So good for you,
Thank you.
man. Yeah,
Thank you.
really good for you. So let's talk. You got a couple things here, man. So you said that you were going after primarily VA loans, right? Veteran loans. Talk about that a little
Kind
bit.
of.
Like,
Yeah.
how, how'd
So
you
I've
get
always,
those, and what did that look like?
so my business, since I got into business in 2006, and my
Okay.
business has always been about going after real estate agents. And That's my model, prospecting agents. And I still remember my scripts from those phone calls. And so for me, it's all about, having a script. And, quite honestly, I think like if you think about us as performers, we're all performers, right? In what we do.
Yeah.
And, like for instance, an actor, the average income for an actor is $59,000 a year, right? Can a loan officer make more than 59,000 a year? 100%. Right. Then I actually pulled the income, starting salaries for NFL players, starting salaries 795,000 a year.
I
But
don't know how
can a
they get
loan
by
officer,
on. I don't know how they get by on
I
that.
don't know,
I
but can a loan officer make more than 795,000 a year?
yeah,
100%. And then
yeah.
I actually pulled up for this call, starting salary for NBA players, 1.1 million a year. Can a loan officer make more than 1.1 million a year?
Yeah.
They 100% can,
Yeah.
right? See, it's
You
all
and
based on
you.
their
Well, I'll 100% of the loan officers
100%.
on this call right now are me
Yes.
and you, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, the industry doesn't dictate our income; our actions do. Our actions
Right.
dictate our income. So good for you. All right, so let's go back.
100%.
Let's go back to this VA thing here. So I'm intrigued about this. So you weren't in the military and you were writing all these VA loans. How'd you do that? Like, what was your
Yeah. So
hook?
I actually started doing in 2018. So I had, I've been the number one guy here in San Diego for a long time. And I had some of the biggest real estate accounts that were here in San Diego on lockdown. And they always had, a backup lender, two, three, four different lenders, but I had such a dialed in team and I was servicing them at such a high level. I didn't worry about it. But what happened is there was a gentleman that figured out how to do home buying seminars, VA seminars, and he was like a pro on marketing. And I remember he started doing VA seminars and creating so much business for these agents, these big, huge teams, two of them, that the business I was getting was because he couldn't keep up with the business he was creating. Right. And this was in 2017. So I'm like, oh my God, I gotta figure this out. So I'm like, I got to figure out how to do these VA seminars because now I was number two, right? And all I could see is that he's gonna now get it all dialed in, and I'm gonna lose these accounts. Well, I was closing 100 deals a year with each real estate account, 100 and 100. So I had to figure it out. So I started go diving into doing VA home buying seminars, right? In my first 5 events, 0 people showed up. So I had a decision to make: either keep working on figuring out. So it took me a year to really figure it out, and so then that's how my business change, where I then became like the VA seminar guy, right? And that was my thing. So I was doing VA seminars. I was doing 15 seminars a month in different markets. I used the seminar as a tactic to go into like Texas and to Phoenix. I've done them anytime I would go on a vacation, I would do a VA seminar, right? So that was my thing, but it was a different type of business model at that time, where now I have 100, it's a ton of leads that were coming in, and you had to have this infrastructure to do. And then, I just, it slowly as, the 2020. So I was ready when the 2020 pop hit because I was doing these events and I had a team, and then, the business came in. So I had a lot of VA Earls to do. I was doing the seminars about 2 years ago. And then the challenge in San Diego is when I would do the events, all the clientele that would come to the event, they all wanted to buy somewhere else in the United States. So I kind of like lost my energy of doing the events. And then that's when I lost being number one at our company. And that's when, Matt Weaver, who we went to high school together, he started doing coaching, and he started coaching me one-on-one, and he helped me change my entire business model to what I do now, which is going and doing the same type of events, but my clientele is the real estate agent.
Yeah.
So I pivoted.
Yeah. That's a good pivot. I've always thought the consumer direct thing is a much harder nut to crack.
Correct.
And frankly, it's not very efficient either,
Nope.
because when you close that loan, you're fired. Right.
Yep.
And I get it. You can market to your database and we get deals from them. But when we market to real estate agents and they start referring to you, they refer to you again and again and again and
It's to
again
get
and again. And it's like, if I'm
gift.
filling up my swimming pool, I can either go buy buckets of water and dump them one at a time, or I can get a hose and use that to fill up the swimming pool. It sounds like that's what you're doing.
100%.
So good
And
for
that
you,
was
man.
the amount of leads that would come from the seminars, they weren't buying right away. And it was only as good as the agents also following up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as soon as if that lead you started now, like the consumer direct, and then 6 months, 8 months later, they eventually go find an agent, right? And then that agent can then refer them to the lender and you lose the relationship, even though you did this class and educated them. So now the model of just going after, that's my customer. So I'm super clear who my customer is, and that's the real estate agent. Well, the one that I wrote down, I wanted to just bring up when I talked about, the professional athletes and actors, is
Yeah.
that people's mindset shouldn't be any different versus what they do versus what, being a loan officer.
Tell
See, because
me.
I look at myself as the Michael Jordan of mortgages, right?
Mm.
Like that,
You're just
because
better
we
looking.
look, yeah. But when we look at ourselves as a performer, right, and put ourselves in that mindset,
Yeah.
because the amount of income that and the amount of transactions that people close is based on their performance, right?
Yeah.
And a lot
Yeah.
of times people don't think about, well, how do you elevate your performance? I mean, the first way, you got to take it more seriously,
Mhm.
right? How many of us are actually taking what we do seriously, right?
Mhm.
It's not to say that we're gonna not have fun. Another thing I wrote down for this call though is that whenever I do a presentation, I never grade myself from a 1 to 10. I never grade myself more than an 8 because I could have a better presentation. I can make people laugh. I could deliver it better, right? So I'm
Mhm.
always looking to improve, always looking to improve because we can. There's always room for improvement. So that's another thing is people should always be looking at focusing on improving, and
Mhm.
then a lot of people don't have an elevator pitch, right? If you think about like when you're out at a bar and someone asks you, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a loan officer. Oh, I was thinking about buying a house. Why should I use you? Like a lot of people don't have that elevator pitch prepared, right? So that's just something I think that people really
What's
uh,
yours?
so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Scott Evans. I'm 18 years in the mortgage industry, and I've had the good fortune of helping over 20,000 families purchase a home all across the United States. See, my biggest strength to you as an agent is my 4 pillars of value, which is designed to increase an agent's sales, productivity, and efficiency. Starting with pillar number 1 is my 7-day a week, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. pre-approval process, where we leave no stone unturned and backed by a closing record second to none, right? 7 day a week, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., 364-day a year pre-approval process. Pillar number 2 is my winning offer process. See, I hold the rank for the most contracts accepted in a multiple offer situation here in Southern California, using what I call my 7 elements of winning offer, which is designed for agents to compete and win at the highest level. Pillar number 3 is my service advantage. So my team and I offer every single product available in today's marketplace, and I go to sleep every night knowing that my clients invest a maximum of 60 minutes in the mortgage process. And pillar 4 is our Growing Together campaign. So I'm constantly coming up with new concepts and initiatives, helping our clients, our agents, have a competitive edge in today's marketplace, helping them sell that one extra home. So for me, that's who my customer is, the agent. So that's my pillar, my elevator pitch for a real estate
Who,
agent.
who would say no to that? Right? Like, who would say no to that? That's impressive, buddy. Good for you, man. So tell me about these presentations. So, two things I want to know. Number one, how do you put butts in chairs?
Email marketing is what we've been doing.
Tell me what that looks like.
Um, what I mean, I'm just just email the database of agents that I have, and I'm just emailing and then calling the agents to come to our events, just prospecting
And
and trying to
and
get them
where
there.
are you always the one that puts butts in chairs, or is it sometimes you do it with a title company or a builder and they put butts
Just
in chairs?
I just me that is doing it in my team. Um, I've had where I've partnered up with escrow companies and different things to
Yeah.
help try to get them to help out.
Mhm.
But what happens is I don't want to pigeonhole myself where some agents would only work with this particular escrow company. And so
Mhm.
that I did that initially when I got off the ground, but now it's just simply my team calling agents,
Yeah.
having them come into the events.
How long are these events?
Uh, Sometimes I'll go for an hour and a half
Okay.
which is pretty wild for me to say that to keep people entertained
Yeah.
uh, for an hour and a half. And now I feel way more comfortable. right? I was scared to death to go do a presentation. I didn't
Sure.
know what the heck I would say for 20 minutes, let alone, I mean, I think I've gone for like 2 hours sometimes.
But
And it's
it's a
all,
scheduled 90-minute talk.
yeah, yeah, it's a scripted presentation.
Yeah.
So, because, quite frankly, like everything is scripted, right? When you
Well,
really think
I
about
just
it.
heard your elevator speech, and
Yeah.
like some people, most people are listening to this as a podcast as opposed to seeing you and I talking. So when I was looking at the camera here, weren't you and I were on a Zoom meeting and we're recording it? You didn't look down one time when you read that thing off. That was in your memory, which
Correct.
was really it was impressive. And I went, man, this dude knows the script, right? And so you've
Yeah.
done that same thing for your 90-minute presentation. So on these 90-minute presentations, what do you talk about?
Um, so the main thing, the foundation is talking about one of those four pillars of value, right? Because every customer has pain. And if you can deliver a solution to the customer's pain, right, you always have a customer. So for me, like, what is a customer? Who's my customer's agent? What is the pain point that they have, right? So they could be having a client that needs to get pre-approved on a Friday to make an offer on that Saturday. Like, I have team members that are scheduled every single day till 9 o'clock, available to take a loan application over the phone. See, we take every application over the phone. We don't send them to do an online application.
You
So
bet.
online apps are better for the lender, for the client, right? So you send them online, like you miss that opportunity. So agents now know that we're taking the loan application over the phone, right? Because we're taking it over the phone, we know what we're then collecting, right? Do we have a robust online app? Absolutely, right? But we take it over the phone because that's how we get to know the customer
Yeah.
more often. So that's one change that I highly recommend people to do is just don't be afraid. Just take the application right there when you have them.
Yeah.
But we, till 9 o'clock, we're taking applications. Saturday we have one person from 8 to 3, and then another person from 3 to 9, and again Sunday 8 to 3, 3 to 9. So that's like a service that we provide to the community. Because we took it over the phone, we know what documents we need, and then I have another team that's pre-underwriting those files within 4 to 8 hours, and then that's step number 3. And then step number 4 is we're having a detailed consultation with the client, right? It's the same consistent process, right? So that way I know what it's consistency, because who here likes consistency? I mean, everyone wants consistency. And so
Yeah.
in that consultation, we're going over rates, payments, cash to close, tax benefits, everything in a 15-minute call. And then we send the conversation transcripts to the agent and to the buyer. So there's no misunderstandings, right? Because, I'll talk to the agents. How many times have you had a client that had that convenient amnesia? I didn't know I needed to pay off this American Express. I didn't know I needed to get a job, so it's super clear right there in writing. So there's no misunderstanding, right? And then that coincides to what I call my 7 elements of win and offer, which is a USP for me that I now give to the agents. Because if you think about, like, most real estate agents, when they're working with a client, they find a home. Now we're gonna make an offer, right? They don't go into their negotiation strategies. So the 7 elements of winning offer that we use is now a winning strategy for agents to be able to either win in a multiple offer situation or negotiate better terms. So I'm teaching the agents how to have strategies to be able to win and get the offer accepted, and it's their process of how they can negotiate better terms or get the offer accepted. So I'll talk about that. I'll hammer in those two aspects, and then I'll bring in pillar number 4 was growing together campaigns where we're constantly coming up with concepts. So I'll give you an example. I'll give one little juicy
Right.
strategy. So it's all about storytelling, right? We always tell a story
Yeah.
when I'm explaining to the agents. So I had a builder developer that called me that had 40 homes to sell, and he goes, Scott, I want to sell these as quickly as possible. What do you suggest? Well, I suggest you market each one with a 3-2-1 buy down, enticing people to buy your home versus the home down the street. He goes, well, how do we get started? Well, which buy down you want to do? You want to do the 1-1, the 2-1, or 3-2-1? He goes, well, I want the most aggressive, right? Which is the 3-2-1. So he rolled that out on all of his listings and all his homes. And I shared the cost because it was a developer relationship.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, if I can do this for a developer, why can't I do it for every single agent that I work with? So we rolled
Mhm.
out Sell It Like a Builder, which now allows agents to promote temporary mortgage rate buy downs on all their listings on all homes. And here's the best part. I'm going to share the costs with your seller, right? So it's not having to cost them what it normally costs. So what do I mean by that? Like a 2-1 buy down. If a seller was to offer a 2-1 buy down, it would typically cost around 2%, right? That's how much of a credit they would have to give.
Okay.
So I'm going to cover 1%. Your seller only has to cover 1%. So when I
Mm.
asked the crowd, who here has a listing for sale? Would your seller accept 99% of the asking price? And they're like, they would. So they're better served marketing the property with a 2-1 buy down, leaving it as a negotiable item. If the offer comes at a full price, they can part with the 1% credit, and I give the 1%. But if someone wants to come in and negotiate and play games, look, we're not going to give the 2-1 buy down. So what you put on the MLS is this property comes with the 2-1 rate buy down, reducing the buyer's interest rate by 2% for first year, 1% for second year. Buyer's not obligated to use Scott Evans of CrossCountry Mortgage have offer accepted, but must use Scott Evans to receive the buy down. So now if your seller is going to tie in and send them to me, I'm going to capture the deal and I'm going to take a haircut to capture, get that loan. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if a buy down costs $20,000, right, and they're now giving me a $12,000 incentive that's tied to me, right, I'm going to give whatever give back to offset. So it's just a strategy now used. It's totally different than a cross call. We've all done cross calls. How often you capture that cross call? Zero,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
the buyer's agent is going to run right back to the lender. But if you're tying an incentive, right, which I actually didn't say how much the incentive is, it's all about whether the offer comes in. If they're asking for a closing house credit, now they tie that to their preferred lender to control the transaction. So that's an example of pillar 4 of a strategy that agents would get at our presentation that they could actually use in their business.
Yeah.
We have so many of them, and that's where I can't give them all away, but we have tactics like that actually make a lot of sense for an agent to use.
Yeah. All right. So how many in a typical week or 2-week period, how many of these presentations are you doing?
We will go and do, I mean, you got to trying to keep in muscle memory of doing presentations, but you got to balance with the schools being out and holidays.
Yeah.
And then
Or how many per month on average?
I think I have 8 for September.
Wow. So are you doing these all in the
In
San
person.
Diego area? Are you?
No, so then I've expanded my business this year because I want to be number one and I want to be Shant or however, and I want to be Matt as well, who's coaching me. I expanded into Riverside County, then LA County and Orange County. And that's as far as I'll go. And those will take time, right? Right now, there's still a lot of the business comes from San Diego because I've already created the brand here, right?
Yeah.
But there's only so many, presentations of the same content you can do, like in, San Diego. So we come up with brand new content every 2 months. And then that's when we roll out a brand new presentation. And so then I have agents that have come 4 or 5 times in San Diego. So this year I expanded in February, went into Orange County. March, I went into LA. And then Riverside, I went into in April or so. So like I'm looking in September, what I have going on. So I'll have, and these presentations, I always pick a venue that people maybe know a little bit, because the venue, it's a nice lunch that I'll do. But I'll have 30 people in a room, which is still a home run. I mean, 30 people.
Sure.
And for me, I'm actually going after, the lower, the agents that are, handful of deals at a year, right? Because no one's servicing them. And I'm now they come in looking for, right now the topic, obviously, the NAR settlement. So we're giving them this inspiration. And I really feel agents will make more money now than ever before, because 50% of the industry was under a hiring basis, right? They would make a decision on hiring a listing agent. And then on the buyer side, right, it was a verbal basis. So now everything is all about, they're having to now present. And what will separate one agent from another is their presentation skills. So the presentation we're doing is we're teaching agents presentation skills, telling stories, how to tell stories. So we're walking them through this journey. And you got to also rehearse. People forget you got to rehearse the material, right? And you got to practice. And then, so I have, in Riverside, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 events scheduled for September.
Wow. All right. So let me ask you this. So I'm a realtor. I hypothetically, I go to the event. I sit through the hour and a half. Is there a call to action at the end of that?
Every time there's a call, yeah, we always end on how to refer us. So that way I give them how to refer me, which is a group text. They have 3 different ways to refer me. I prefer the first route, which is a group text. So I have them text me. Everyone, pull out your phones. Send me a text with your full name, and then I'm going to send you back my contact info. Everyone, pull out your phones, and they send me a text with their name. I save in my phone, and then I'm like, look, then we can send emojis for the rest of the night. So the first way is a group text. Second way is we have a bat line. You can call that number that rings an entire team 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. if you need to talk to someone live, right? Third way is you can do an email introduction, but we prefer a group text.
Yeah.
So what happens is when they do the group text to me, right, I have a standard response that'll respond to the agent, screenshot it, and then I send it to my team. And my team, I have a group text with my team, and then my team will pick up the phone, call that client right then to take the loan application and then update the agent. So that way the agent's not thinking about who to send it to. And, and I'll pick up the phone and call the clients in the beginning as well. We just have a scripted process, right?
So I go to the event and you have these 2 BDRs that follow up on me.
Yeah. So I have 2 people helping follow up, extract.
And what does that look like? Are they calling me, emailing, video? Like, what
so
does that
we
look
have,
like?
so we have, we have email, marketing that because there's so many different tactics that we do. So now we're dripping them with like email marketing, say in front of their face of different things that we've created. Because I have to have discipline when I'm doing an event because we've created so many different cool concepts that if I go into too much, I'll look at the crowd and their eyes are glazed and like it's information overload. So those people are also following back up with the people that have come and just, realtor follow up, right?
So
is there any buyers that you're having challenges you can't get their offer accepted? 30% of our transactions are midstream transactions where there's, either the client was going to pre-approved for what they wanted or there's, an issue. Either way, we step in and figure out an issue. Is there any clients that we could give a second opinion? Right. And a lot of times they might have heard it from one person and then they hear it again from us. We might have looked at it a little differently. So they're asking for any sellers that were thinking about selling that are, kind of stuck. We could have programs where you can buy before you sell. Any listings that you have that are stuck, right, that are not moving, that we could use one of our tactics to help.
And these are all phone call follow-ups that you're doing.
Phone call follow-up.
Yeah.
And then they will also go after the people that have signed up for the event because we're looking at production. So sometimes people that are doing 10 to 20, 30 units, they'll sign up for the event, but their ego will get in the way because they've never come to one of our events. And then something will come up and they keep flaking every single time. So they'll be calling to either set up a one-on-one Zoom with me or face-to-face or even for them. And so we have actually a coffee appointment. So dialed in presentation that they'll go and do like a 15-minute coffee appointment. And I'm also, I'm calling every day. We can't forget to have the fundamentals, right? Michael Jordan, whenever he would start practice, would always start with the bounce pass. So for me, my day looks at, I call every offer that goes out, I always ask the agent to text me the agent's phone number. So when an offer goes out and I ask them to copy me on the offer. So I'm always calling the listing agent when an offer goes out. And then I'm also replying back that we can meet the timelines written in the offer. So one of the things that, we push is we're pushing agents to write a 10-day close with a 5-day inspection period, waiving the loan because we've already underwritten the loan, waiving the appraisal because we're getting the appraisal back within the 5-day inspection period, right? 10-day close. I pick up the phone, call the listing agent, and then have them copy me on the offer, also confirming we can meet the timelines. So let's keep it real, right? If you want to get seller concessions in today's market, right? It's a lot easier when you're doing a 10-day close, 5-day inspection, no loan and no appraisal, the loan officer calling on the offer, right? So I call on every single offer, right? I also call every single day on transactions that are currently going in and calling, just the layup. So I'm calling as we're doing deals with those agents on the other side of transactions, just giving status updates as well. Even though there's status updates going out automatically from my
Yeah,
team, I'm also calling those agents and
you
then
bet.
inviting them to an event. And
So,
then
dude, go
I
ahead.
think though that what's going to happen in the what we've been doing, being in front of a lot of the lower producing agents or agents that maybe are brand new. I want that deal, right? They maybe sell to their friends or family, but I feel like 80% of the real estate agents are going to need some type of performance enhancements to their business, meaning when rates come down, it's going to blow up those agents businesses.
Yeah.
And because I've been out there in front of them constantly every single month, right, and they continue to come to our events getting new tactics, that's where I feel like I have an advantage in what's going on, that's going to happen in the market. That when rates come down, those agents that we've been in front of, their business are going to actually increase and we'll be there
Yeah.
along the ride. So it's kind
Yeah,
of the
you know what you've really done here, Scott, is you've become like an industry celebrity to these people because you're going around, you're teaching all these classes, and they get these emails, and you got this team, and you're doing the follow up. But brother, it all started, my suspicion, with you and a phone
correct.
and started some closings, got some closings, added one person onto your team, got some more closing, added another person on your team until you got this, mortgage empire, right? That you're operating
That's
today. So,
that's exactly that's I remember. I mean, I still remember my script for my pitch. Hey Carl, I noticed you had a brand new listing on 123 Main Street. Congratulations on the listing. Oh, thank you. So the reason for the call is I like to align myself with top and active agents just like yourself. And I want to sit down with you for about 10 to 15 minutes where I can show you how you can add even more transactions to your year in 2024. Carl, are you available Monday at 2 or does Tuesday at 3 o'clock work better for you? And I said that in 2006, right? And that's all I would do. Prospect agents, constantly on the phone. And then I would go on appointments, right? And there's something about when you're new in the business, they always send you the like difficult files,
yeah,
right? So I had to first, go on appointments and then I had to have value, right? At the time, the value adds that I was presenting to agents, right, were like an example is, Carl, you mentioned that you hold open houses, correct? How many open houses would you say you hold each month? I do about, 4 to 8, right? Well, how many prospective buyers come through those open houses? I don't know, 5 to 10, prospective buyers. So, you could have any, maybe 50 prospective buyers each month, a few hundred over the year. So, Carl, if you had a professional loan officer such as myself follow up with every single one of those open house attendees within 24 hours, I mean, what would that do to your business? I mean, could you see, 1 to 2 additional transactions, right? It was a super simple concept because I had nothing else except for my follow up, right? And then that was my value adds, right? It was all about follow up. So I used to do that every day prospect, go on appointments, and then eventually over time, I had leads, right? And then I would just do my realtor maintenance, calling the realtors every single week, right? And you build up this database of agents, and eventually you build up more and more clients, and then the flow comes in. So I
yeah.
remember it was April 26th. I started January 1st, 2006. My first transaction was April 26th, 2026. And then I've closed the deal every single month since that time. And I actually met her at an open house. So we all remember our first. That was my
Yeah.
first
Good for
deal.
you, man. I like this, man. I mean, it just goes, it's just, I see so many people, they think, well, I need to go buy this widget and I need to get that and I need to be doing this and I do doing that. And dude, you just break it down. It's just so nice and simple. And you're just absolutely crushing it, brother. So, and I tell you, it just couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Brother, I could sit here and talk to you, literally for hours. We've already gone about double time I normally do these, but it's been worth every drop of it, because
Thank you.
I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat myself.
Yep.
So good for you. Hey, dude, I
Thank
just
you.
want to thank you so much for just giving away so much value here. You're doing it out of the goodness of your heart, and I really appreciate it. I absolutely love
Thank
you,
you.
man. You're fantastic. And on behalf of the cool gang over at the Scotsman's Guide, thanks so much for coming on
Thank
here,
you.
and we really appreciate it, Butter. Good
I
stuff, buddy. I
appreciate it.
hope to
Thank
hope to meet you, dude. I'd love to sit on one of your events. So next time I'm in La Jolla, which I do that pretty often, I'll be calling you.
Scott Evans events. You can check it out, Scott Evans events, and see when I'm where I'm at. So
I will
thank
absolutely
you.
check that out.
All right. I'll see you
Thank you,
later.
Scott. I appreciate it, buddy.
Bye.